FreddyO.com.
What's going on, guys? It's your boy FreddyO. We're back at it, filming another video, guys. When I tell you I had the time of my life, kicking it with my homie, my sister from Miami, the one, the only queen of rap, at the steakhouse. That's what we was, because I was with the baddest Miss Trina. Yes, guys, we had a good time of our lives. It was such a good time. We learned so much, but most importantly, we got to have an in-depth conversation with the queen of rap. Yeah, when I tell you Mona Scott Young didn't miss nothing. Maybe she might have missed a few things, but she didn't want to give it away because she wanted y'all to go buy the book, which is why we was there, to support the queen of rap and to make sure we find out all the dirty details that's gonna be in that book. Anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and stop talking about it.
For those of you who don't know.
Trina, stay killing these hoes for you.
All right. Again, I am Mona Scott Young, and I am so happy, thrilled, and honored to be here tonight as Trina launches her memoir, The Baddest. Please give it up for Trina. You know, when you grow up listening to someone and watching them, you feel like you know them. But it really is not until they put their life down on paper, they open themselves up, and they share their innermost secrets, their vulnerabilities, their hopes, their triumphs, that you really understand what it took to get them to where they are and to make them who they are. Trina has done that with this book. And today we're going to talk to Trina about her inspiration for the book, some of the anecdotes that she shares in the book about her life and growing up and what brought her to become the person she is today. I will read some excerpts from the book and we'll talk about the book. So without further ado, please help me welcome Trina Taylor. Oh, DJ, she need music for her comment now. Come on. Should have had that queued up. All right, so before we get started, and you know what? I was going to give you another intro, but go ahead.
Okay. Go ahead, Mama, you're the boss. I'm just here.
No, I wanted to start by just, for those who have been living under a rock and who don't know anything about you, and that should be no one in this room, just to hear a little bit about the inspiration here. This book, The Baddest, is an energizing and provocative memoir from the unapologetic hip-hop icon, chronicling her Miami upbringing and the good and the ugly that comes with being the baddest. Growing up in the Liberty City area of Miami, Florida, Trina Taylor spent her childhood feeling relatively sheltered by her mother and stepfather. Trina and her mother had an unbreakable bond, and Liberty City felt like a playground made just for her. And even at a young age, Trina knew what she wanted: to be a powerful, successful, and magnetic woman. A woman who was entirely self-reliant and independent. She dreamed of becoming a dancer, sexy and sparkling in the background of rap music videos she saw being filmed around Liberty City. Little did she know she'd eventually be the star of the videos and a founding queen of rap. In The Baddest, Trina's voice is, as always, powerful, insightful, witty, and provocative, while also showcasing her vulnerability and deep love for her family, home, and music. This evocative look into Trina's upbringing in life as a rap icon proves why she is the blueprint and how she helped pave the way for the future of female rappers and hip-hop artists. Put it together for Trina, y'all.
Thank you guys. Thank you, Mona, so much. Thank you.
Absolutely. So it was interesting. There were so many things that I learned about you from reading the book. And one of the things that I already knew, because the excerpt that I'm going to read is going to talk about kind of our union and our connection, but you are an incredibly private person, right? So what inspired you to write a memoir?
The inspiration just became just in the time of my life after being in the music industry so long and after navigating my way through so many phases and doing so much and transitioning and even getting on TV. I just wanted to tell my story in my way, because people always would be like, the songs get you turned up. They turn you up, don't lie, y'all know y'all be turned up. But the Trina, when you see like in person, it'd be more down, like, you know, it'd be more laid back, more shy, more like, just more, you know, calm. But when that mouth start mouthing, you know, so that's what it was. It was one of those things I just wanted to just like, you know, just tell it my way, because people don't really understand. A lot of people just know I came out and I did the song with Trick, and that's how I first came onto the scene, but it was bigger than that, and I was already this Trina before Trick. Like, I already was known in my city. I was that person, and I was before that, my whole love and stuff for music, even way before Trick and all that, was, you know, it was my birthday, and my family wanted to decide what I wanted to do. They wanted to give me money, and no, they wanted to do whatever, and I was like, I want money, and they wanted to know why, and I was like, I'm gonna do a concert, like when I graduate.
You telling, you're getting way ahead, because
Okay.
we're gonna talk about all that.
Okay, this is my inspiration though. That's why I did the book, because I just wanted people to know how it started. And like, a lot of people don't even know what you're about to say about that, so we'll wait for that. But that was the big thing, and I just felt from that moment, but I didn't know how to navigate it or do it, like at that time. So being inspired just from growing up and just being around stuff and fabulous things and just a bigger life and just seeing so much, and then elevating into the music industry, and then now I'm here. The story is deeper than just Nam.
How different would you say Katrina is from Trina?
Katrina is way more private and way more, I'm not clearing up anything, I don't care. That's Katrina. Trina is feisty and ready to go. Like, you know, I be reserved, but I'm just always ready to go. Like, so I just kind of, that's the difference in that. But they're the same people, but Katrina is, you know what, we're not going to do this because Mona Scott Young is in the building. But if she wasn't in the building, I would do it. That's Katrina. But Trina.
You talk about, like in one of the passages, you talk about creating an alter ego when you're giving advice to artists and people who are stepping outside of themselves. Is Trina your alter ego?
Victoria is my alter ego.
Victoria. We don't meet her in the
That's in the studio. That's the songs. The person that's on the songs. But Trina, Trina is the girl that's that doesn't be shy. That's just like ready, like, you know, very confident, very truthful, very believe in herself, very much like not afraid to give other women, you know, props and tell them they're beautiful and, you know, just uplift them. That's Trina. She just like, you know, that's me.
Let's go back a little bit just to the beginning before you became Trina. Mm-hmm. You talk a lot about your upbringing as a Caribbean, you know, born woman or raised by a Caribbean family, and that everybody was loud, and that's what led to you kind of finding your voice literally. And you talk about Mom and Mr. Wonderful. Tell us a little bit about how growing up in that environment, because one of the passages is, I walked around Liberty City with my head held high because I was the proud daughter of two of its most respected people.
Everybody knows my mom and dad, so it was one of those things where they both had businesses on the same street. This is the hood that I came from, so it's easy to leave off the street where my grandmother's house is, and either go to my mom's business or my dad's business. Like, it was the whole block. And, you know, I was just, you know, that girl. I just grew up, like, feeling like that. My mom owned a whole bunch of beauty establishments, like, this whole era, and it was just women. So when women come in, it was all about coming in, what you do in a beauty salon. Get dressed up, you want to get hair, makeup, all that stuff. So I always saw that. Always leaving out the door, telling the woman, you look beautiful, your hair is, you know, women coming there, you want to cut it from long to short. I saw that. And then my dad's side was just more of whatever you want. Like, whatever you want to do. Like, you know, just, that was it.
But would you credit watching the way your dad moved for kind of your street smarts, your hustle?
My mom.
Your mom?
Yeah, my dad was more laid back. He was older, so you know he was just a cool guy. Everybody just loved him. They respect him. You know, he did a lot of stuff for the community, and so with my mom. But that was the brain. That was the muscle. That was the energy over everybody, even my dad. That was the force. Like all that came from her. The streets. Like watch you hang around. Watch what you do. Don't think you're doing nothing that I ain't already did. Don't try to be slick. I've been there, done that. All this stuff. I'm like, oh yeah, I know. No, you don't know. I know. I've been here before you. So that was my mom. So all of that stuff would like be in my head no matter what I did.
But you spend a lot of time challenging that. With the stories you tell in the book, you had a hard
I didn't
head.
do a lot of challenging, a little bit, because I didn't really play with my mom. But when I was younger, like growing up, junior high, school and stuff like that, yeah, I did skip school one time, 2 times. But one time we got caught. And the one time we got caught, we didn't get away because we got caught. Like somebody called my mom and was like, we see your daughter and some peak girls and they're walking down the street. It's like, my mom's like, that's impossible. She's in school. Oh no, she's not. She's right here. So we just on our little day. We didn't even know why we skipped. We just didn't want to go that day. It was one of those days. You don't want to go. You just want to just do nothing and just be in the house. And my mom's sister lived not too far from the school, and we just thought her house was the perfect house to go to. I had a key. So we could just like hide over here. And the day my mom came driving down the street before we got to the house, checked us up and drugged us back into the school and embarrassed us. And you know what comes with that? There's snatching. I was like, Mom, what's going on? This is embarrassing. But it's embarrassing for you to leave the school also. So I learned that, but I didn't really play with her like that. But yeah, I did.
But it sounds like you also were very headstrong. You knew what you wanted, and even though your mother was strict and she was on you, you still found a way around, and you were the leader of the pack with your sister and your cousin.
My sister, my cousin, my friends, everybody. Because I just always felt like, even now in life with my friends, they know I'm the person that's gonna do the right thing. We could be out together, we're in the car, everybody gonna hang out and we get drunk or whatever. One of my friends would challenge, I could drive. I'm gonna be the person to say, I'll leave the car, we can Uber or whatever because we're not driving. But one of my friends will go, no, we can make it. I'm always the one to do the right thing. So I feel like if everybody follow what I'm gonna do, we're gonna be okay. I don't want to follow what you're gonna do, because I don't really know what you're gonna do. I'm not. Your license might be suspended. You might be doing a bunch. I don't just follow me. My license is good. We're gonna get home safe. We're gonna get away. We'll get the car tomorrow. That's the right thing to do. So I just grew up doing it. Everybody else, they moved, they plans. It always went bad. Like it went
And you
bad.
actually say my ideas were always the good ones.
Yeah, they was like the ones that got away.
And so your mom shaped the woman who you are.
She did.
Talk about that strong influence for you as you were becoming a woman, as you were finding your way with what you wanted to do. Because what I want to talk about next is your path into music. That was another surprising thing. That was not a straight path, right? So talk about your mom.
My mom I just never saw her need anything or want anything that she couldn't have, or everything she wanted to do, she did. I just always saw that. So me, I'm thinking in life, not knowing that I'm not my mom, so I gotta figure it out or whatever, but how to be able to have the life to do what you want to do, have everything that you want, like, and with no problem. Like she never told me no, like unless it was something I shouldn't be doing. But for the most part, anything I wanted, it was yes, unless it made sense to her. If it didn't make sense to her, don't even bring it to her, because that's a whole nother conversation. But it was one of those things, like she made me see like things that you probably would like. I'm not the person that want to learn the hard way. Like my mom would say, don't do this because it's gonna XYZ, and like my sister would do it because she wanna, well, let me see it my way. I'm gonna say if my mom already did it, then that's why she's telling me not to do it. That was just me. But I did learn the hard way, like just even watching her and want everything she wanted, like the living conditions, a big house with a pool and all this. And my mom owned rental properties. I moved out of my mom's house to move into one of her rental properties, thinking this is the life I want. It is, but then when I got there, I couldn't afford it. Like the bills was coming too fast. The light bill was like, I thought it come every month. It was like seeming every 2 weeks. The water bill, there's the pool bill, there's the yard man, there's groceries, there's the car insurance, there's all this stuff. And before you know it, the lights was off and the pool man ain't coming no more and all this stuff started packing up. I'm like, hey, what's going on? My check is not enough at this place to pay for this stuff. But my mom already told me this. But I thought, I'm acting in my head. I didn't know they were gonna take out taxes and all this other stuff. So I'm just like, I'm making $200 a week. That's 2, 4, 6, 8. I'm good. That was never that. Okay? It never added up to that. I didn't have the money to pay, and it was her place, but she just made it hard. But it was a lesson because you can't stay here if you can't afford it. Because in real life, if you can't afford it, somebody's going to kick you out. I'm your mom. I'm not kicking you out, but I'm telling you, you got 30 days to pack it up and get out. You got to go. And that was just like lesson. So I paid attention because it was like, even if I didn't like it or it felt a little hard, or you can give me extra money, then that's how I'm going to think life goes that way. And it doesn't in the real world.
Exactly. Yeah. And it was interesting to read about your career trajectory. Right, you talked about what you made in terms of money and stuff. I want to throw this out because this was an interesting one. Who thinks they know what Trina actually wanted to do with her life? Because if we think it's rapping, it was not it. Wait, did you read the book? Okay, go ahead, what do you think?
Real estate?
Who would have said real estate? Does everybody already know that? What? Yes, I was like, what? Wanted to be a real estate agent, and if you had sold that house, life would have been very different.
I just knew I was going to be selling the biggest $1 million homes on Star Island in Miami Beach. I would just drive all the way to Palm Beach to Mar-a-Lago, all the way back to Miami, just looking at this. I was envisioning, I was manifesting this, and I was like, everybody was in my ear, that real estate license is so hard to pass, and I was like, but high school is that hard to graduate from and pass the test too, I'm going to do it. And I had to it was extremely hard though, but I still put in my mind, it's what I want to do, I'm going to do it. And I passed and I did it. And I wasn't experienced at the moment, but I had got my license and I was just knowing that, boy, put in the months or if it took a year, however, this is what I'm going to aim to go for. And yeah, that's what I thought.
And then from there, you had the opportunity to do the concert.
Yes, to do the song for Trick.
The song. Oh wait, the song for Trick came next.
Yes.
All right. Well, I want to read a little bit of a passage because this kind of speaks to how you navigated career and whether or not the looks played into it. Because you say, I was never satisfied with being a pretty face and a nice body, even if I reaped the benefits of both. I knew there was more to life. I was raised by women who were smart, ambitious. Turn that cell phone off, please. Creative and respected. And even though I could rock the hell out of a club dress, I saw myself as a boss chick in business suits. A woman who made business deals, not just one who had dollar bills falling all over her body. Talk about that, like how your looks played in and how you had to kind of, navigate your way.
Because I grew up, my mom was beautiful. She had the looks and the body and all that, but my mom worked every day. That wasn't what got her to having what she had. A lot of my mom's friends was the same thing, but these women were working women. My mom's sister, this is a beautiful woman. She owned an entire bank. I didn't even know what that meant, when I was little. I was just like, auntie owned a bank. Okay, we don't know. I didn't really understand it. I'm a full adult now. I totally get it. Imagine owning a bank. I just thought
money.
Yeah, I didn't even
Long
realize
money.
my auntie was just like, okay, auntie, cool. But when seeing that, I just knew that we from Miami. Miami's one of the places where 11 o'clock at night, you can wear bathing suit and flip-flops. It's hot. You walking around the street, on South Beach, whatever. So that just isn't enough to be to where I wanted to go, to the women that I was seeing growing up around my mom, her friends, her clients, people that she was engaged with, and they were dressed up. They were business. They had their nice cars. Their hair was always done. Nails was always done. They always had money. They was never begging. They was women that pulled out credit cards, and this was a life. I was sometimes Mom, what does this lady do? How does she got so much money? So it was that kind of molded that whole brain thing for me. Everything looks, face, body, all that looks good, but you gonna go from little to growing up and old, and all that's gonna change, and you still gotta figure out what's gonna be the key
Sustainable.
to make you get to where you wanna go. It's not looks. Because I see a lot of beautiful people and they are just a bird brain. It's this little. That wasn't the thing for me. It's some smart, intelligent. Some people thought, even I experienced that, sometimes when I first started, even going to do interviews or radio stations or whatever, and people, as soon as you walk in the door, it's Nan or the baddest, and they figure I'm coming with a bunch of girls. They probably got to be dancing and twerking, and it's like she's intelligent. She know how to speak and read, and it was one of those kind of things. Like I was like, huh? So I realized that like it's the image is that's just the look, and now everybody buying it. So it's one of those things that was here for real. Like I was always watching, always paying attention, always looking at the inspired woman that was going higher, like.
And always figuring out how to make money.
Always.
Talk about the concert that you put together.
Yeah, so let's talk about that. So this was going to be my graduation gift from high school. And I had kind of graduated late because I hated science. I just didn't think something that I needed in life. I don't know why I'm here. I don't want to dissect the frog. I don't care. Leave me alone. I'm going to fail. My mom was like, you can't even get an A in the conduct part. You just get F for F. So 4 years high school, I failed science. So now it's time to graduate. And my teacher, I was missing a credit, so I had to take night school. And the night school consisted of me passing by watching the Malcolm X movie. However, I passed, graduate. Okay, moving forward. So for the graduation, I got money. I was like, wait, whatever I wanted for my graduation. I was like, I just want money. And my family, my mom, my aunt, and my mom, both sisters, were like, well, what do you want to do with the money? Like, you want to buy a car? And I was like, no. I was like, I want to do a concert. It was like, a concert? What kind of concert? Like, and I was like, the artists, they come out, perform, concert, and it was just, they didn't understand it. Like,
and you weren't even in music at that point?
No music at all. It was no music. I didn't know no artists or nobody. The only person was Uncle Luke in Miami. I didn't know nothing else. So in this concert, I always watched television. I always watched, the up and coming artists and everybody was coming out. I just loved. Now at this time, I'm like, this is what I'm gonna do with the money. I'm gonna book artists to come to Miami. I already know the club. I'm gonna get my friends. We're gonna drive by there, speak to the manager, ask how much is the venue, find out the venue price, and then we're gonna start making a list.
And how old were you back then?
I was at this point 18.
18.
Yeah.
All right, this was before social media, before you could
Or
just
17 going on 18.
that people could just come. So thinking about that entrepreneurial spirit and mind at 17 years old that you already had was crazy. But go ahead.
So I just thought I'm gonna do the concert. So now, okay, I'm not a promoter. I don't know how to book, how I'm gonna get people there, whatever. Miami is popping, it's lit, everybody's gonna come to South Beach. We already know the club that has the most people coming to visit and do shows is Cameo. So now we're gonna go there and get in contact with the people. I got in touch with them. My artist, this was my first booking in my artist. The first artist I booked, I think I was 8. I think I was 17 because I wasn't allowed to get in the club, but I snuck in the club.
Yes.
So I was I said I was almost 18, but I was closer to my birthday in December, so whatever, I did. It was whatever. They don't know now. Anyway, so the artist that I booked to the concert, it was The Brat. This is when Funk the Five was out. Craig Mack and Biggie Smalls. These were the artists. The Brat came with Jermaine Dupri. Biggie came with a few people's entourage. Craig Mack came with like one person. The Brat was very The Brat. She was very cool, calm and collect, very spoiled. She was with JD. They was ready to go to South Beach, get on school, just have a good time. Craig Mack was cool. He went to radio, did everything. Biggie just wanted to smoke and get to the hotel. But this was my concert in Miami, sold out, major show, packed.
At 17 years old.
And at 17 and a half.
That's crazy. I mean, it speaks so much to who you are and why you are who you are today. I mean, I don't think people are realizing how difficult that was. I come from back in the day before all of these, all of the access, right, that we have now with social media. The ability to just connect the dots and reach millions of people at the press of a button. That was almost, an unbelievable feat for a woman
So we had to put out
in hip-hop.
fires.
For a woman in hip-hop to do that, right? So that's something that needs to be recognized because there weren't that many women on the business side of things. Certainly not any women promoting concerts, and certainly not any 17-year-olds doing what you were able to do. So I just think that says so much about who you were to become. But you also, do you think at that time, even with booking those shows, and did your confidence level and your ability to do that, would you tie that back at all to just your looks and feeling confident and being able to walk in a room and command that attention, would you say that that played a part?
Definitely, because I had to stand up and like be confident, speak to the owner of the club and book the show. And here I am, I don't even have an idea to get in the club. And but I don't care. This has to happen. We're gonna go to radio. We hear the radio. We're gonna find the station. We're gonna go down there. We're gonna talk to them. We got these artists. They're big. People love them. They're gonna give us what we need and support. And we're gonna get in the streets with my friends and the team. We're gonna I found a way to find somebody. Katie's here. She made flyers. We just had to make flyers and post them up on the boards and do all this kind of stuff. This was the real starting from the bottom, like with it. And I still did not want to be a promoter of the concerts when I did it. It was just something I wanted to do. I did it and I accomplished it, but I just didn't see myself doing that. It was a lot of work. You gotta make sure the artist's okay, you gotta book limousines, everybody gotta get home. It was a lot.
All the details.
All the details.
And I asked the question about the looks, and that the connection may not have seemed clear, but I wanted to tie that in to the fact that there is this sense of ownership, right? When, like they often try to make women feel that our gifts should be weaponized against us. But there is a world where having a sense of confidence that comes from knowing that your presence shifts a room and then using that to your advantage in business. And I think we saw that happen even with your music, the way you empowered women to embrace all parts of who they were, right? The sex appeal, the beauty, the body, that they were able to kind of own all of that in a way that helped empower them versus, demoralize them. So let's talk about the transition to music and getting into music. Because who knew that you were a reluctant participant? Talk about that Trick Daddy now.
Well, it just, after I was about to do my, I was in real estate, I had got a job, and I had went to show property and stuff, and I was like, I wasn't actually the agent showing the property, I was just assisting. One of the girls that were there, she just really thought I was very persistent, and she liked how I was working, and she was like, I'm gonna take you along, we're gonna listen, and I went. And they loved it, and I thought I was about to get it, and then that's when me and Trick called me to come to the studio and just do something, but it's Trick. Trick is somebody I just knew from growing up in junior high school. Trick never made it to high school with me, so I didn't even see him more. He was locked up. But in the midst of that, Trick was one of the guys that was in school as girls and my friends would be the annoying guy, the one that always getting on your nerves. Oh yeah, I think y'all too cute. Y'all think y'all look good. Your hair dry, whatever.
You're gonna see Trick totally differently when you learn Trick.
Oh yeah. So it was reading the book. It was just one of them things, but it was he was still cool. He was always cool and calm, but he was always a jokester. And so, he just hit me up one day, I want you to come by the studio. I'm thinking, I'm just gonna probably say something on his song, before this whole Trick even thing happened years prior. I'm gonna just back up a little bit. I had snuck in the studio. I was 16, I think 16. I was 16 I'm always going on another age. I think 16 going on 17. However, I went to the studio and that's when I had did it's a little part when you hear Luke's It's Your Birthday and they go Trina, I had to snuck in and do that. So I'm thinking this is what Trick want, a little talk introduction, and he's like, just come on, it's gonna be quick, whatever. And so I got to the studio with my friends and Trick wasn't there. It was just the engineer guy and just this beat of what Trick was going. So when I get in the studio, when I got to the door, you could hear it it was a small house. All you could hear was, you don't know now, you could hear it in the speakers coming through the door, but you didn't hear Trick's verse, you just heard that. And so we go inside and the producer's just come in. So this is my first time in the studio ever, in Slip and Slide studio. I go in, so he's like, come in, I take my girls with me. Y'all go in the booth and he goes, I'm gonna show you what Trick wants you to do. And so I was like, was that it? You were playing the thing? And he was like, yeah. So I was like, okay, well, let's hear it. And I'm just hearing when it come on, you don't know me, I'm thinking I'm ready to just say my name, Trina or something. And it was so you heard that, and then he stopped. He's like, okay, just do this. Just repeat what Trick's saying. You don't know me, but say the opposite. And I was like, okay, cool. Do that. And then now you hear, after that song, they play it a couple times. Me and my girls be in there. They on the floor, on these little pallets, little cushions. And so he goes, okay, next part. And I'm like, okay, what's the next part? Then he plays Trick's verse of the song. And so I'm like, well, what do I do? Like, what's happening now? Like, I'm like, what is he talking about?
Because I just want to interject and say, you had no desire
No.
to be an artist.
No.
It's not like you had been working towards this your
I
whole
wasn't
life,
stopping no
dreaming
song.
about this
No.
moment, was
Writing no
ready,
record labels,
right?
no.
You was just in that studio like,
What's happening?
what?
Like, I'm gonna go say my name is Miami, I'm representing this trick. I did it for Luke, so okay, cool. But now I did the part of the hook of the song, and then when I heard what Trick was saying, so I'm looking to the engineer, which name is Funk Boogie, by the way. Like, Funk, okay, what's happening? And he's like, well, you need to do a verse. I'm like, what you mean verse? He's like, the empty part after where Trick is at, that's when you go. And I'm just like, what I'm gonna say? And so we just end up, me and my girl, we giggling, we laughing. It's just like, ooh, Trick is crazy. Eh? And so now it's time to get real.
And don't give away too much about the process, because that was an interesting part to read.
Okay,
Yes.
so I'm just getting a little bit. Now it's time to get real. I'm just in there, so I don't really know what to do. So it's basically, we called Trick. That's what happened. We called Trick. Like, yo, what's going on? What are you even talking about on this song? This is dirty. I'm not gonna say this. He's like, no, you don't say what I say. I just need you to, like, for the women, you just go against me. This is like a male versus female. And so you see what I'm saying? Just say something that match, like go after that. Oh, so I'm gonna have to curse you. I'm gonna go there. Like, you took it there, I'm gonna take it out of town. Cool. So now me and my girls, I still don't know what to say, but now I'm saying certain stuff. They like, that's not nasty enough. You heard what he said. Run it back. So now I gotta go back. It was just a night. We was
Yeah, but that was a really interesting part of the book.
It was a lot. And
because I'm sure everyone thought like you were ready for that moment. And that was all, you know.
I was not ready. I was doing that. I really, literally messed up the whole notepad. Yeah, like in the studio was a little stand. It was like one yellow folded notepad. All the paper was scratched out, tore out. I was saying all kind of crazy stuff. So much stuff did not make the verse we took out. And it was like, this is the toned down version. Because my girls was like, no, you gotta go harder. Like, we gotta really make the girls kill him in this. And I was like, ooh, I'm almost gonna kick my butt. But I was ready. I was like, okay, whatever.
And that takes me to this message. My advice to all women in the industry is to do your thing to the fullest. Talk your shit. Feel comfortable in your skin. I'm not ever going to bend over to take a picture with a hand in my butt crack. But if it works for you, you should do it. If you want to be raunchy and ratchet as hell and shake your ass, you should do it. What's the problem? It might not work for this crew, and it might not be the right cup of tea for that crew, but somebody is going to love it. You don't need to seek validation from anyone else. Do what you want to do, not what everybody thinks you should be doing. Remember who you are. Put yourself first and go for it. Lean into the alter ego, because you're going to need one when you're putting yourself out there for the public to consume you. Now, I thought that was an interesting choice of words. Not for the public to consume your music, but for the public to consume you.
Because once you start doing music, this is your craft, your artistry, and no matter what you're talking about, you got people that's going to be like, woo, child, you heard what she said? But some of y'all is just doing all that and some more. I learned that when I first did now. I was terrified. My first time at the concert, the birthday party, I didn't say a word. I was so nervous, but the song had already kind of was like on the streets, underground DJs and like mixed shows or whatever. I got a hold up once Slip Aside had released it. But when I realized the very first night that I didn't say nothing at the party on stage because I was scared and nervous, but the DJ was steady playing the song, so my verse was on, period, and I'm just here with the mic, just like terrified. And I was like, y'all is nasty. These girls is just a mess. Because they knew every single word, and I looked around the room like, ooh, I ain't gonna be the only one getting in trouble. Now some of y'all, you know, people out there, I got in trouble for listening to that song. That's why, because y'all was saying it. But for me, that was the thing when I say consuming you, because once you come out in your artistry and your creative, and it wasn't a lot of girls when I started, it's 100 girls now, and everybody is different. Everybody is their own little, whatever they got going on, how they're doing their thing, and some people don't like it. It's okay. You don't like it, don't look, don't listen, go to the next artist. And that's just always what it's going to be. We all come from different lives, different struggles, different places, different sacrifices, different whatever you had to go through. Some of the girls I see have a kid, you're trying to provide for a kid, you didn't have it. You gotta, if this is what you're doing, put your all into it. Find you, because you're gonna need that. Because it's gonna make you, and then it's gonna break you. That's all that's gonna happen. And you gotta be able to be strong. I love the girls in the industry. I came into the industry loving the girls. I love the girls. A lot of girls in the industry right now, they might not be here 24 years later. You don't see the time span that we come in a different time, a different generation. Everything is changing. Social media is taking over. Stuff is so volatile. People are so quick to tear you down after so many people try to build you up. So you gotta be ready for that. Some of these new artists, they breakable. They have temper tantrum. They can't. And if I didn't come up in the era I came up in, I would be pop-off queen #1. I would stay on that finger, but that's just like, that is not me. My mouth could get there, but I don't have the energy. I don't have the time. I don't have the mindset. My mind is always thinking of evolving, like growing, making money, surviving, how I'm going to live 20 years from the day I'm at. That's always what I always thought about.
Yeah, but you also came at a time where, like you said, there weren't that many women, and there weren't many women at all doing what you did, coming out unapologetically. You mentioned some of the predecessors. You know, there was Kim, right? And she was somebody to look at. But you also were really smart, I thought, in the book about talking about the audience and understanding that you were the voice that these women had. You were saying the things that they were thinking when you watched them, you know, rhyming along with you, knowing all the lyrics, that they wanted to have that voice, that freedom, right? And that's what you represented. So another passage you talk about, there are so many different paths for women to take in the industry, but it's not complete freedom. People see pretty pictures and hear confident lyrics, and they don't consider how hard it is out here for these girls. They are criticized so heavily, picked apart for what they look like, held to a different lyrical standard, and constantly put in competition with other women. Talk about that.
Because this is the industry and the culture that we're in. I feel like it's always going to be people focus on, you know, who's the hottest, who's on top, who's this. There's always going to be somebody hot. There's always going to be somebody hotter. There's always going to be somebody that's going to go higher. That person would some eventually leave, and there's going to be somebody else. It's a revolving thing. It's never going to stop. That's why we have so many women right now, so many artists. But what we do is now that the culture, the industry take, and we pit these women against each other instead of like putting them together to build up the culture. Because the new generation is supposed to be able to uplift the next generation. That's my experience and my personal opinion, is because me, myself, when I go out and I'm around the newer artists, whether it's Lotto or Glorilla or Megan or all the girls that's out now, they always have this same story, like, you know, I love you, I was inspired by you, did this, that made me get through this. So when I look at them, I'm expecting them to serve that same energy to the next generation that's come up. The next 16-year-old is trying to be a rapper when she's turned 20 or 19 years old. So that's what we gotta continue, instead of the tearing down and the fighting and the die. Because let's keep it real. When you look on TV and you see the videos and you see the girls be girling. And we want to see more of it. We do not want to see it broken up and tore apart, because this is it. We are the voices of the women. Whether you're going through love, happiness, breakup, divorce, struggling, all kind of stuff, whatever your issue is, this is where you get inspired from. Whether it's that song that's like, ooh, I'm just so in love, or ooh, you just got me over this heartbreak. And when I hear that kind of stuff, I'll be like, me? This is what I was going through. This is how I felt though. This is what my homegirl was going through. So you know what? I watched my friend go through her breakup, and we in the studio like, oh nah, we ain't going down like that. This is when the baddies come out. Come to the studio, we gonna turn up, take some shots, and I'm gonna write about you. And we gonna make all the girls that feel like you in the world come about that same situation that you feeling like. Because it's not just you, it's worldwide. When I did Single Again, that's just not for me. It's so many people in the world that was single are going through that. So I felt that. Same thing with Here We Go. It's one of those things with a woman and you holding it down and you in your vibe and your element, and somebody playing with you or keep testing you. It's like, wait. Oh, here we go again and again and again. We're not doing that. And that's just always my mind, because I know what I want. I'm not going to settle. If it's not working out, it's not doing what it needs to do for me, I'm out.
Yeah, that kind of, yeah, you could give it up for that. For sure. And that was an attitude that you not only had in your personal life, but also in your business life, right? Because some of the song titles you just mentioned, you got a lot of pushback on. And they fought you on wanting to have those songs out. So talk a little bit about that journey for you in your music career and finally getting to a place where you were able to take control.
Well, because the label was mainly guys. You know, we came from a bunch of guys, and it's curated that way. So once I did Nan, they just saw this vision that everything should be structured like Nan. But Nan was just created in the studio because I had my girls, and we was just turned up. And the energy you told me I had to dominate so that means take him out. I got my gang with me, we about to take him out. That's what I felt. But every day in life, I don't feel like that. So as growing after the first album, then we got to the second album, which is why it's called Diamond Princess, because it was more softer. I had traveled the world, I had seen so much stuff, the view was different than just Nan. It was a bigger inspiration. I was inspired by so many more different things, and the presence was so much bigger. I wanted to make them understand I have my own mind, my own voice. I don't want to do every song like Nan. I don't want to do this. This is how I got on my album 2 Monica records, because the 2 Monica records was, you have to sacrifice, like basically sacrifice the fact of giving us a record that we want to get what you want. Like we gotta compromise this house. So I don't care what y'all saying. I don't care what the budget is. I got 2 Monica features. I want both of them on this album. And so the creation of that was to give us a record that was like Nan, that wasn't exactly Nan, but it was your way. You on the record by yourself. What record you want to do? I didn't really have a record by myself at that time, and I got a phone call. Maybe like it was a crunch time in the album, right towards us closing the album. I got a phone call towards the end from Killer Mike, and he sent me a beat, and that's how Look Back At It got created. And that was the record I got to put on the album for the label to satisfy them for me having these 2 slow love kind of records for Monica. So it's all kind of game when it's like as a woman, and when you come out with your whole creative, you're gonna change. You're not gonna be the same. You're not the same person you were when you started. You see different visions, you meet different people, you're inspired by other things, and you gotta know who you are with that voice to speak up on that, or you just be unhappy. It ain't what you want to do.
And you made some pretty tough decisions along the way too.
Yes.
But I don't want to give too much of that away, because you really share the frustrations, the triumphs, the experiences of your career. And I think people who don't know every single detail will be, kind of surprised at what you share in the book. So we're not going to give away too much of that. I think there are moments in the book where you talk about, your personal life, the relationships, both with your family and with some, romantic relationships. But I'll tie that to the things that you say you learned from your mother and the women in your life, just about how to be treated and about what you should be looking for in a relationship. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Well, my mom, I came from seeing my mom, I didn't have the guy who my mom decided to create me with, whatever energy that was. Thank God I'm here, but I don't really consider that as being a part of my life. So my mom was married to my sister's father when I was 2 years old, and that was my mom's husband, and this is the man I grew up with to know as my father. This is Mr. Wonderful. He's the person I talk about the most in the book. So growing up as just young and just coming up into this life with this amazing man in my mom's life, and I watched this man treat my mom like she was on top of the world. That's all I saw. I watched my mom do everything, get everything she want, go after everything she want. She want to build and she want to have a whole beauty empire. My mom is the first black woman in Miami to have a beauty empire, to sell hair products, beauty products, before a hairdresser, like a whole
Who
big
knew that? How many
space,
people knew that?
20,000 square feet space of beauty products for women to come buy all this stuff that we do. So I watched this and I'm thinking this isn't what I want to do. I love it. I'm here. I'm seeing it. But it wasn't my vision, but just watching it and watching my mom's sister that owns the bank and my mom's friends and everybody that came around my house and my family, they were all women that had goals and vision and jobs, and they buy everything that they want. And so that's all I knew. I only knew that when I get of age to be able to have a great job and to have a great life, I'm going for the best. I'm going for the sky's the limit. I'm not stopping. I'm not. So watching that and then nurture you and tell you not to settle for anything in life that doesn't meet your standards or that doesn't align with you, that you don't feel secure and safe with, that you don't feel happy with, that you don't feel that have your back no matter what the situation may be. Like, that's all I ever saw. And so it was the thing. I pushed my friends for that. Like, all my friends could tell you, I don't care where they at. They know if they in a relationship or something's not going right, that's not for you. Or if my friend is the person that's being not the good person, you doing wrong, that's gonna come back on. You know that's karma, right? And I'm a person that pushes it out. Like, it's open book. I'm gonna tell them, you playing games, that's gonna come back. That's a good man, you wrong. That's a good man, Savannah. So that was just the person I am. So I just grew up seeing that kind of stuff. Like, my mom's friends were all mostly married women that had, like nice houses and families and jobs, and they were good people that just brought good energy, and
had the right support system.
The support system was immaculate. So I wanted to build that same thing around me with my friends and push them for whatever it is that they do. All of us don't do nothing the same, but whatever you're doing, I'm supporting. I'm pushing you. If I found an extra way to tell you how to do it, or it's a little way you can get more, or I'm gonna connect you with somebody. I know somebody. I'm pushing you for that. I'm calling you. I'm texting you. Late night, 5 in the morning. Like, it don't matter. That's me. Everybody knows that. So I just saw that. So I didn't know no other way but to push that.
I'm
a Sagittarius. I'm very bossy.
You said what the women in my life taught me about men is that keeping your dignity and respect intact is the top priority. The worst thing you can do in a relationship is lose yourself so much that you allow someone to disrespect or disregard you. Men hold a lot of power in the world and in the lives of their women, so women have to be discerning about who has access to their time and attention. I learned that men show women that they're special and appreciated with actions, not words. If a man truly loves you, you should have something to show for it. My mom was my first example of this.
Absolutely. My mom, my stepdad, I had one of my moms, my first stepdad passed away and my mom got married to my little brother's dad. I just saw the same pattern repeat itself times 20. It was extra this more. And my mom was the type of person, it doesn't matter, she's not settling for nothing. She just was that woman that when she stepped in anywhere she's at, everybody knows. And that's all I ever saw. It's gonna be that for me. I'm not doing nothing else. And my friends, y'all better follow what I'm doing, because when you step in that room, this is the energy that you need. Don't play no games with no guys. Don't let nobody take you for granted and push you so far when you can't get up. We are women, we are human, we are people. We're gonna fall, you're gonna go through heartbreak, you're gonna go through love, happiness, changes, all that stuff. But at the end of the day, who are you to you? What do you want for you? You gotta know. You can't depend on nobody for that. You gotta stand 10 toes down in the paint and say, this is what I want. I want to be able to kick my feet up 20 years from now and be okay with or without somebody. That's how you gotta think, and that's always how I thought. Like, I don't care what's going on. It could be everything could be good. If something turned back, okay, that's fine. Let's move on. Life goes on. I'm still standing 10 toes down because I know what I want for me. Like, you can't rely on somebody to make that for you. Nobody could do it but you. And that's the only thing I ever saw.
And so at this point of your life now, we're seeing Trina in a committed relationship. So, who you are today, right? And knowing everything that you've been through in relationships, would you say that you have a different perspective on the dynamic, on how that support is, important? Because this is a question I get asked all the time. Well, how are you doing all of this and being a wife and having a husband? I just think it's important that we talk about that more openly. That when you get to a certain point in your life, right, you can still have everything and have a relationship that supports you.
You definitely can. I think you just have to, your partner, your husband or your wife have to be your biggest support system. My husband is my biggest support system. He caters and makes sure everything that I need is there, like first mentally before it is accessibly. And that's the thing that I learned, and that was the most attaching thing to me. Because this culture, this industry that I'm in, it's a lot to deal with. the people, the fake, the real, the energy.
It's not designed for the success of relationships.
It's just not. So you got to make sure you and your partner is on the same page. They're very understanding because they see so much. The stuff they thought probably was so real, to them it's not so real. It's so, they can see past the stuff that you can see because this is what we're in. We got to smile. We got to take pictures. Sometimes I don't want to take pictures. I don't want to smile. Sometimes I come to somewhere and I'm thinking about my mom. I'm just probably was crying in the car. Gotta fix this lash, or that's how I feel. I'm always that way. Before I hit the stage, sometimes it's my mom, it's my niece, it's whatever. I'm having anxiety. I'm going nuts. He's like, calm down. Everything's gonna be okay. We're just going through this moment. So I have to get it together, and then I go and do what I do. Turn it to the bags. But it's moments in real life, because I'm still a real person, I go through all these things. And when you chose to be with a person, what I've learned from just past situations and relationships, like as a person, and we all know, and everybody in this room is over 21, I assume, if you've been in a relationship or any type of situation with somebody, you know something inside of you know when it's real or it's not. When somebody is sincerely, genuinely, authentically there for you, or when they're just shitting you along. And if you say you don't know, that's because you don't want to know that. The red flags are always there in your face, no matter how you try to push them out and you cover that wig in the front of the eye. It's there. You just have to understand what you want in life. You have to be true to that. Sometimes you have to get to the point to where you're tired. I'm not accepting this. I'm not taking this. We're not doing this. This is me. I'm Katrina. This is what I want in my life. This is what I'm accepting in my life. This is what I'm not tolerating in my life. I have a husband I respect and I love, and I'm so grateful for, because this man has brought the softest parts of me out of my life during the most emotional parts of my life. And I stand before you guys all the time, whether it's on a stage or it's TV or whatever, and all the time I'm always smiling and giddy. I'm not always feeling like that. I'm not always feeling like that. Sometimes I grab the phone, I'm dialing for my mom, because that was to me the world. And when you get to a place in life and you don't have your mom, that is the most darkest, deepest, painful place in the world that you will ever be. That you will ever be, because there's no way to call. It's over. It's just over. I don't care what nobody tell you. I don't care how much praying. I don't care how much it's going to be okay. It's never going to be okay. It's a moment in your life that will always follow you. I don't care how much happiness, how much money you make, how much trips you take, how much Birkin bags, how much wigs you wear. That hurt and that broken part of you is going to follow you until you leave this earth. Every day is not a good day. I put on today's to make it, but it's the most painful thing for me, the most hardest 5 years of my life I've had to endure in life. Sometimes I thought I wasn't going to make it through these years, but I have. And I pushed through these years because I still cannot believe to this day that my mom is not here. That's the only thing that I had in this world that I knew if everything else failed, and I call that phone, she's coming. She's there. I don't have that. So life is real. I'm not taking no shortcuts. I'm not playing no games. You're not playing with me. If I feel your energy is negative, you gotta go. Because this is my life and this is my world, and I gotta live it out to the fullest.
And you've endured a lot of tragedy, but what I appreciated, when you talk about it, is you were like, there are no words. There's nothing you're going to say that's going to make me feel better. She was so honest and so vulnerable about that in the book that I didn't even want to touch on it here, because I felt how raw all of this is still for you as I read it. But thank you for opening up and sharing. And that's what she does throughout this book, guys. She really shares and opens up and gives you a part of her life. And she is so proud of you. Your mom, your brother, your niece. On a personal note, I was there with you for some of that, right? And seeing who you are now and seeing your ability to talk about it, you couldn't even talk about it. There was a time when you couldn't even talk about it. So this right here is resilience. This right here is you being on the other side. It's never gonna go away like you said, but you're living with it and you're figuring out how to move forward. Yeah. All right, I'm gonna lighten it up a little bit by talking about living your life and having your relationship out in the public eye. That brings us to our connection through a little show called Love and Hip Hop.
It started with you, girl.
I'm gonna read this passage because I had no idea, guys. I was reading this book, I was like, what? Mona Scott Young changed the game when she created Love and Hip Hop in 2011. She understood how invested the fans were in the real lives and stories behind hip hop artists, and she used her music industry connections to create this huge franchise. It opened doors for so many artists, their teams, and their families to expand their business and get a bigger bag. For the first time, it was the reality franchise that consistently pulled in the highest numbers of viewers. It was the inspiration for a lot of similar series. Boy, I'm gonna skip ahead. She talks a lot about me in this, so you all have to forgive yourselves. Okay, let's go here. I had seen episodes of Love and Hip Hop based in the other cities, Hollywood, Atlanta, New York, and it didn't look like anything I wanted to be a part of. There was too much focus on people's relationship drama. There were a lot of messy arguments, and actual fights broke out way too often. I couldn't imagine myself in any situation where sitting down to have a conversation with somebody ends with wigs getting yanked off people's heads. Somebody throwing a drink in my face? Absolutely not. I wear contact lenses and can just imagine myself flying into a literal blind rage. None of it seemed professional or safe for anyone involved. It wasn't a good look for me, and it wasn't how I wanted to present myself to fans or to the general public. I didn't care about the money, the opportunities it could bring, or how well I knew Mona. For years, my answer was no. So this whole chapter, you talk about
Mona Scott Young.
the evolution of getting to a place. And she, was really honest, and I respect it. That's the one thing. You and I would have so many long conversations about what that show is, the good, the bad, the ugly. And the one thing that I always say is, you have the ability to dictate, right? How you are portrayed, what you want to give, by being very conscious of your actions. And the other opportunity that you have is to fix whatever it is, right? If you have a scene that you don't like, you can always come back around. So talk about what led you to deciding to be on the show. It's here in the book, but tell us.
Well, Mona asked me, actually, it was about 4 years, constantly back and forth. I was like, no, I don't think so. I just kept watching the show. I was like, ooh, this is entertaining, but no. And so in the midst of that, I remember I had created the Rockstar Music Group, and that was the label. I had signed some artists. And at this point, we're like in the part of, music where there's no more 106 in Park, there's no more MTV and all this stuff that we were utilizing platforms for artists to get exposure. And I thought, well, this could be a good light for it. I could bring the artists, I could do this, I can show myself, me continuing doing music and just navigating through that in my way. And I thought about it and I was like, and then it's Miami, so I got so many other people that I can bring on to benefit. There's Bobby, there's Trick, there's my cousin Joy, and there's all, this is a whole cast. And I was like, you know what, Mona, 5th year, I'll do it. And so when I realized that I was able to get up there, and at this point it was really my album process and stuff that's happening. And this is the thing, it's reality TV. They want to see reality. What do you have going on in your life? So these are the real facts that's going on in my life, whether it's good or bad. The album is doing good, the album's not doing good. We're trying to get clearances, we're trying to do so many things. All this stuff is really happening, so we're filming it. And once I really saw that part of it, and I know the drama comes in, but the first couple years I wasn't even on the scenes for the drama, so I didn't really see it. But I knew, once you kind of, put your story together, and this is your truth, this is how you're figuring it out, whether you're in a good space in your career or your space is rocky, you're trying to bring it up. All of that was the platform to show that, and that was the green light for me. You know what, let's do it. And I learned a lot, and I was able to like show that I was able to bring my fans and people that wanted to see me constantly more on TV, but it wasn't in the music form because we didn't have the platforms no more. This was the way, and I just shrugged it on over.
And it took a while to get you to open up because you definitely had.
I was very reserved. I was watching all. The first episode I shot, there was Bobby and drinks and food flying everywhere. I was terrified. I was like, okay, this is my first time shooting. No, and it was like, okay. But once I was able to see how it goes, it takes a while to get comfortable. I was still very reserved. It was still very much, no, we're not shooting this. No, we're not talking to this person. No, we're not bringing my mom. Like I was very, because I protect my privacy and my family and people that I care about and love, and I just don't want them. They don't know about TV. We don't know what's happening, so you don't really know how somebody's going to act. You get that crazy drunk aunt or uncle on TV,
except for Bobby.
Bobby's ready for anything, so he was ready to go. I just knew Bobby was. He has a character that was just ready for TV, so he was the person that I knew that would be able to adapt. It didn't matter, but I was more protective of myself, and because I came on this TV with my name, my brand I built. I didn't want to destroy that, and I knew how I wanted to be perceived from it, so I had to be very careful.
And I didn't know about that other show, but I can read about it in the book.
The one I did first?
Yes, exactly.
That's the reason I gave you such a hard time with doing it, because I did get approved to do another show. I love Tracy Edmonds, and I got, we'll talk, you'll see it in the book. But anyway, I did another show, and I just, honest to God, I hated it. I thought, I'm not ready for reality TV, and neither is my family. They're stars, crazy, frightened, scared on camera. We don't know what to do. This is not going to be a good look. No, scratch it. I didn't want to do it. And that's why I paused for you for year after year. Who's the contenders that's going to just have that energy? Bobby was first up. So that's how that happened.
Yeah, no, and I'm glad that you finally came on board. Thank you. Aren't you guys glad that you came in? The reason Love and Hip Hop Miami exists?
The reason it's in Miami is because I said yes.
They were like, if you could get Trina, we'll give you Miami.
Mona would call me time after time. You have to get on the show. Okay, it's the second year. I'm going to call you back, and you would not give up. You were persistent. I'm going to get you on this show, whatever it takes. And you did not stop. And I said, yeah, like 4 or 5 years later.
And I appreciate you talking in the book about, the conversations that we had and how we stuck to what we talked about and what we said we was going to do.
We did.
I'm telling you, there is so much that you learn about Trina in this book. So I just for a minute want to take us right to the end, where you say, for me, being the baddest was never just about the physical beauty, the money, the status symbols, or perfection. I've been fine all my life and always dated people who are bossed up. I still had to boss up on my own. I'm not perfect by any means. People who know me know that I still do not like to sit still, and I get overwhelmed super easily. I still have a problem being on time, and it's very likely that I'll need to smoke some weed before I walk into any building. I'm not afraid of my emotions, but I can definitely be a hothead when I'm upset. If some shit is going down, I'm feeling it now, and if I need a moment, I need a moment. Trying to talk me into feeling differently, sharing your opinions, or forcing me to process my emotions before I'm ready is only going to make it worse. I don't assume to know how other people are feeling, and I don't want them to try to tap into what I'm feeling. I need to be able to express my full range of emotions, and then I can move on. Otherwise, I'll explode. But I'm okay with my imperfections, because at the root of it, being the baddest is about knowing who you are and making the most of it. Ladies and gentlemen, Katrina. The baddest will be available
October 8th.
October 8th. Congratulations. Thank you for sharing.
Thank you.
And I cannot wait to adapt this into a biopic movie.
When we looking for those videos, and y'all say, where's that movie? Everybody started running Mona Scott Young, okay?
Oh, what's going to happen?
Okay.
Thank you so much, Trina, for opening up. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for writing this book. Everyone, thank you so much. Please support this book. Tell your friends, tell them to tell 1,000 friends. Tag Trina. The book will be available October 8th. Thank you for coming. And
Video.